So Windows 11 has been getting on my nerves for quite some time, between forced updates when you didn't ask it to, ads in the start menu, and Microsoft doing literally whatever they want. So I'm just over it. I'm done. I'm done with Microsoft. Never going back. At least I don't think I will, but anyway, I replaced Windows 11 with Linux. So let's do a fast fetch here. See what we're working with. So I'm on CachyOS, and you can see everything shows up. My GPU straight out of the box, straight out of the USB installer. GPU shows up, CPU shows up just fine, Wi-Fi work. Which I was having a bug on Windows 11, which is part of the reason why I'm doing this, is because I even did a fresh install of Windows 11, but my Wi-Fi wasn't working. My Wi-Fi card would work for 5 minutes and then it would stop working. I reinstalled the drivers, I did all that stuff. Literally, it wouldn't work. And it did the same thing with Ethernet. Like, Windows 11 is just so buggy. All of the updates are so buggy. Every update is worse than the last. It's just really, really bad. So I'm not here to tell you that Linux is perfect or that Linux is for you, but I just got to the point where Windows felt like I was a guest on my own computer, and I'm done with it. Linux gives me full control over the operating system. It doesn't have ads. It doesn't update when you're trying to do something important. And for somebody who's into like technology and like programming and stuff like that, Linux just makes way more sense than Windows does. So onto the distro. Like I said, I'm on CachyOS. So what is CachyOS? CachyOS is built on Arch Linux, and basically it's fully optimized for your CPU and GPU straight out of the uh, ISO file, so you don't really have to do anything outside of installing it on your computer and just setting it up. So here's the part that people are probably going to be curious about: gaming. So gaming used to be a nightmare on Linux, as if you're watching this video, you probably know. It's been a deal breaker for a lot of people when they switch to Linux, because they switch and then, their favorite game doesn't work. But that's not really a problem anymore, for the most part, and that's because of Proton, which Proton is basically a translation or a compatibility layer that lets you run Windows games on Linux. And it's gotten to the point where you just set that as an option in Steam, and then just every game works. Almost every game works without the need to tweak any settings, doing any like boot arguments for the game or anything like that. It just works. So I'm going to be putting this to the test right now. I'm going to install Steam. I think the AUR has Steam, so let's see. Okay, it does. So I just installed Steam with Yay. It's that simple. Just type in a command, hit Y, hit enter, and then it's done. Okay, so now Steam is opened, and I'm going to log in real quick and get a game downloading. Okay, so I just downloaded Raft because it was a really small game. It downloaded really quickly. So I just opened it up, and it's working perfectly fine. The only thing that's not right is the resolution, but that's an easy fix. Just go to set it to 1920 by 1080. Every game's going to vary, but as it currently stands, games run fine on Linux. Maybe some even run better on Linux than they do on Windows, just because of how optimized Linux is for everything. So that just goes to show gaming on Linux is possible. Now, the only thing is, there is a caveat to the gaming on Linux, and that is any game with anti-cheat. Rainbow Six Siege, it's not going to work. It's got anti-cheat. Fortnite, not going to work. Call of Duty, not going to work. GTA 5 Online, not going to work. Story mode will, though, but most of these online games have anti-cheat. The point of Linux is to avoid the intrusion, and anti-cheat is very, very intrusive. It goes deep down to like a software and hardware level to make sure you're not cheating. So that's the one problem. But if you play those games, just dual boot. Windows alongside Linux. You can daily drive Linux, and then when you want to play one of these online games that have anti-cheat and require you to use it, just dual boot. So, before I end off the video, I'm going to do a little bit of customization. Now, I don't have a Hyperland like riced out Linux build, and that's way too complicated for me at this point. Like I'm not comfortable enough with Linux to do all that yet. So I'm just gonna change the wallpaper to something darker. And then something else that I need to change is mouse acceleration. That I really don't like it. Pointer acceleration, disable that. Please disable pointer acceleration. Like, unless you're on like a laptop with a small trackpad, turn that shit off, dude. So I just switched to Linux full time, so I don't have a good take right now with how I like it. So I can't say for with full confidence that I'm going to keep this forever, but I can say this. I'm going to give it an honest effort and force myself to use it for at least 3 months before I decide if I want to go back to Windows. But like I said, there's a lot of strong points that are going to keep me here. Like the privacy, no ads. I choose to update it when I want to. If I want to update my computer, I think, yeah, Cachy has an update manager, but you can also do pacman-syu or yay-syu, and it updates all of your packages. If you do it with yay, it does like all of your AUR packages. Does that. You don't even need to restart your computer. You almost never need to restart your computer. So if you've been on the fence about trying Linux on your main machine, especially if you're into the stuff I'm into, like programming and like tinkering with like software and hardware and stuff, I think Linux is pretty worth it in 2026. And like the gaming, if gaming is holding you back, just dual boot. At least try it for a little bit, and then if you don't like it, just delete Linux and go back to your full Windows setup. Anyway, that's the video. If you enjoyed this video, maybe like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.